In this video we'll be having a look at an Ace Players LE. This is an Adelaide based brand. Let's take a look.
So Ace is a South Australian based company who do cricket bats and cricket gear and sponsor a lot of local talent. This particular one is a Players LE, which has been picked up by a local lad here in the pre-summer sales. And what we've got here is a Player LE, which is not their top of the line. This is what they'd call their Player Willow. You can see there are a lot of grains, not necessarily even, a bit wider on this side where you've got heartwood, a bit tighter towards the right-hander's outside edge. So generally they say tighter grains is a little bit stiffer, heartwood is a little bit stiffer too. So this would generally be a bat that's going to perform pretty quick, perhaps not last as long because of the narrow grain structure. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 grains. Lots of grains. Little bit of some butterfly staining and a knockdown here that's just coming through. That's nothing really. A knockdown here is nothing I'd be worried about. Probably adds a little bit of strength down there. General finish of the bat is okay. There are a few little dents in that. It's a mid-profile, little bit of duckbill, mid-edge, 65mm spine, 38mm edge. You have a tiny little bit of concaving there, perhaps 2 to 3mm, more like 2, all the way down through the profile. Bat weight is, I'll just get that in shot. I weighed it before, it was 291 and it's still 291. And what does it feel like? It pretty much feels its weight, maybe a little bit better. Handle construction is a slight oval handle towards the bottom, round at the top. On the middle to thin side, not a thick oval handle. And the construction of the handle is 3 cork inserts. Looks like one hasn't gone all the way through. It says 2.9 on the shoulder, which is accurate with what we got on the scales. So I'm expecting this bat to be on the mid to soft side of pressing and to be a bit softer down here where you've got a little bit of bow, as you can see there. The face camber itself, we can easily check that out using the gauge now. So we know the gauge camber is 5mm and it's slightly under that, so it's about 4.5mm. So it's pretty much in line with the new rules, and that just comes under the gauge. You can see that little bit of concaving there. So it's perfectly legal, and the width of the bat is dead on, 107.8mm or 4.25 inches. Alright, let's give it a tap up, hear what it sounds like. Okay, so we're already into a fairly generous hitting zone there. It is on the softer side. I'm expecting it to perform much better in the middle where it's less bowed. And it's starting to peter out. And some knocking. I imagine those edges, which are a bit boned, but they're not, they're still on the sharper side. I imagine we'll get some roundness into those because I will be knocking this one. And yeah, it should turn out pretty well. Also do the toe on it. You can see there by the toe, the grains are a little bit slanted, but pretty nice. Fairly straight. They're not sort of crooked or bowing. So yeah, in general, I'm pretty impressed with this bat for what he paid for it. I think there are some points where they could improve the finish, but I don't think Ace is trying to lead the market as far as selling you the most pretty looking bat as far as stickers. It's this, the money goes into basically providing a bat that's going to perform. And I've actually knocked another one of these, which I didn't bother to review, but it performed quite well. So once it was knocked. So yeah, we'll have a look at this once it's. So we've completed the knock-in of the Ace, and we've put some scuff sheet, edge tape, Shugu toe on it, giving it a nice polish. It was a little bit rough when it came in. Can't really do much about bats where there's actually wood missing. Generally I found the press on the softer side, particularly down in this area where it starts to bow up. That area there, so it's had a lot of preparation around the toe and the edges. Still needs a bit of work or prep play in up in this area here. It's a bit, it's not really doing a lot up here. Its power zone is really in that sort of area there, which is consistent with the edge and spine. We'll give that a tap up so you can listen to the difference. So generally this is what I would call that sort of what they're classing now as players grade willow. It's going to perform really well. Grain wise it's nothing special. I know it's got a lot of grains. Personally I would not look any more than 12 grains in a cricket bat. That's just my personal preference as far as durability over performance, because performance will come the longer you use it. This bat, as I've explained to the owner, will be more of a sprinter. It's going to go well really early and then it's just going to peter off and start to deteriorate as the wood is pretty dry. And yeah, it's just the nature of these softer press Indian style bats. But it's a nice profile, and for what he paid for it, reduced, $300, you can't really argue. It's going to be a really nice bat. I've cleaned up the taping at the top here, and yeah, in general I think he's going to enjoy using that bat. It's going to perform really decently. We'll do our bounce the ball. As usual, we'll start with a 4-piece ball. And you can see there that's going from a mid-low to mid-power band. As far as the toe goes, it's fine, but above the toe is obviously where you want to be hitting. From about that position to here, in that area, is generally where you're going to make the most out of this bat. Moving on to the dukes. So a little bit hard up near this area here, and once again it's performing at its peak in this lower area here. So generally no real seam marks on that. Needs a tiny little bit more knocking. These sort of softer press bats will always show some sort of seam mark. So that's the Ace Players LE for Nick Skews at Para Hills. And thank you very much for bringing that in. Ace.